to fall off of here just in case I get into it. I want to hit this. Hello to everybody who's joining. I hope everybody's having an amazing, amazing day. Um, waiting for people to get in here. And then I spilled water on myself. That's okay. At least it's water. Keep it pushing. Let me see so I can share my live really quickly. Okay. For everybody that's just joining, hello. I hope you're having an amazing day today. I'm Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. If you are just now seeing me for the first time, if you are watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe. And I post all of my lives, my past lives on YouTube. And so the past live, we were mainly talking about optimism versus pessimism. And we were understanding the fact that like the pessimistic mindset shapes your reality. And since so many of us have a negative mindset, we literally have negative actions. And those negative actions develop negative consequences. Because regardless of what you do, whether it's negative or positive, there's always a consequence. So what you put into the world, what you put out there is going to come back to you. It's literally reaping and sowing. And so you have to understand that if you are not in a positive space, you are literally reaping negative outcomes. You are literally sitting here putting yourself in a negative space. And so you have a negative attitude. So we talked about that last live. So now we're going to talk about the optimism. We're going to talk about what it looks like, what it feels like, how to embrace that lifestyle, and what the positive outcome comes from when you are where the power of the positivity comes from, rather. That's what I was trying to say. The power of the positivity and where it comes from. And so there are so many different benefits that come from you developing a positive lifestyle, which looks like you having a positive attitude. Because we all know people who walk around here with a negative mindset, negative attitude. And those people not only make you feel bad, they also feel bad. And then on top of that, like, you see here and you realize the fact that that person is reaping negative consequences. A lot of people that I know that are negative Nancy's don't take care of themselves. A lot of people that I know and I have witnessed that are just overall negative are terrible at putting themselves first, because your attitude reflects how you internally view yourself. Your attitude reflects how you are subconsciously and consciously. And so your actions are going to reflect that. Your words are going to reflect that. Your attitude is going to reflect that. And so we sit here and we see people out here, and I'm not speaking just because I'm speaking as a person that used to be here. I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking for somebody who literally was in a space of so much negativity I didn't even realize how negative I was, because I thought that it was just venting. I never realized the fact that I was so negative because I viewed myself as not worthy enough to make change. I viewed myself as somebody who can never establish change in their life. And so once I realized the fact that like I was mentally unstable, because I literally was in and out of depression episodes because I was always anxious. I literally was sitting here struggling day in and day out because I had a negative mindset, because I did not understand the fact that like nutrition is so heavily misconstrued and misunderstood in our society. And so we do not understand the fact that like there's a reason why so many people are walking around here anxious and depressed. There are so many reasons why there are people who are literally sitting here. The numbers have gone up. There are people that are sitting here literally crazy, and they don't realize it's because their gut biome is off. They haven't given themselves any nutrition that they need. And so you sit here and you look at these people and you look at how society is, because numbers are proof. If you can't look and observe the earth, the numbers are the proof right then and there. And I was doing research and I was looking, so I'm going to give you a little statistic so that you can sit there and put the number to how many people are out here sitting here literally mentally crazy, and not just saying like, oh, you're a psycho, you're a narcissist. Literally sitting out here crazy because they're malnourished. They're, as of 2023, because we went through, 2020, all of the issues that came with that, and all of the episodes of depression, anxiety, and all the things, it ramped up mental illness. We understand that. We know that because we went through it. But what we don't realize is the fact that everybody was sitting at home not taking care of, not everybody, but majority of society was sitting at home not taking care of themselves. So you're sitting at home not taking care of yourself as a society, as a whole. And now we see the repercussions. Now we see the consequences. Literally, mental illness has ramped up from the age of 18 to 33, has ramped up all the way up to 50% when it used to not be that high. Now 50% out of the number that they have between people being 18 and 33, 50%, that's half, are sitting here dealing with some type of mental illness. These people that are that are 34 all the way to 44 are sitting here with issues, the same kind of issues. It has ramped up from them being from 25% going all the way up to 45, I think 30, between 30, 32 to 45%, almost 50. You have to sit here and do the math. Look at the statistics and then look at society and see how we are. You walk outside and you see these people that are sitting here dealing with being overweight, dealing with being obese, sitting here with all these fertility issues in our society, because we are having more and more issues of fertility going on with our society, and it's getting worse. All of these cancers being developed, all of these issues developing and growing. And so where do we make the link of our actions have consequences, and what actions are we taking that is making us so ill? And you sit here and you say that you consume in moderation. You sit here and you say that you take care of yourself. But you can look and you can see the repercussions that you are literally sowing and reaping. Because if you were taking care of yourself the way that you properly are supposed to be, you would not be developing diseases and illnesses. If you were taking care of yourself the way that you need to, you would not be sitting here ill. Society would be sitting here ill. We wouldn't be sitting here finding all of these new cancers and sitting here developing all of these issues when it comes to having taken chemo, insulin, sitting here having to take all of these birth controls, getting hysterectomies, sitting here dealing with issues far as you developing gut issues, IBS, you sitting here having all of these intestinal digestive issues, having to take supplements because you don't know how to eat correctly, so you have to supplement in something for you to be able to balance your health. You sitting here having to go back and forth to the doctor, getting these different prescriptions that are not supporting you in healing. And so our actions are so negative that we can't even have a positive attitude in this lifestyle. And if you were taking any prescription, you have to understand that it's throwing off your chemical balance. If you are not eating correctly, you have to understand it's throwing off your chemical balance. And these chemicals are how you stay sane. These chemicals are how you keep a positive mindset. These chemicals are the reason why your organs are able to function the way that they need to be. It's the reason why your brain is to be able to discern, to be like, you know what, you are anxious today, but we can get it together. Your brain is supposed to be there to stop and be like, wait a minute, you're having a negative thought. Why are we having these negative thoughts? You should be able to sit there and have this conversation with yourself without spiraling. You should not be having to sit there in anxious depression episodes, literally sitting there having to talk yourself out of it, and you can't. Because everybody gets in a sad mood. Everybody gets in a bad mood. But I'm speaking from experience. I have been there where I literally was in and out of anxious depression episodes for months on end, literally sitting there anxious, and then going in and out of depression episodes at least once or twice a week. At least once or twice a week, literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, would have a depressive day and then be sitting there like, why in the world do I literally feel like every week I have something going on mentally? And I've never been diagnosed. I've never taken a prescription for it, so I was just dealing. And the way that I coped with it and dealt with it mentally was me sitting here disassociating myself from my life, me sitting here going with the flow, me sitting here not wanting to be here doing anything, not excited about anything. Thanks for the follow. Because I literally was sitting here so anxious and depressed, not realizing that I was not feeding my body the fuel that it needed, not supporting my body the way that it needed to be supported. But that all starts with your mind. And so I was not in the mindset, I was not in the space to understand that. And so once I got into that space, which was in 2020 when I was doing research because we were stuck at home and I was trying to figure out, what was going on with the food industry. And I got into the space of, or rather got into the rabbit hole of understanding the gut health and your brain health, and understanding how we're not supporting ourselves when it comes to us eating fast food, us sitting here eating these chain restaurants and these chain fast food places, us sitting here eating all these processed foods, not realizing what GMOs are actually doing to our body. All of these things are literally throwing us off mentally, and you have to understand that. And if you do not understand those connections, you need to go check out my YouTube. My YouTube literally shows you, Purge the Poison series shows you why GMOs are so harmful to you, why all these toxic chemicals are harming you, and how they're harming you, and why you need to switch and you need to learn how to adapt healthier habits that are outside of this food pyramid, this my plate, these people in this government system that do not care about you, but care about the fact that you have money to spend and you are a dollar sign and a consumer to them. But we're not here to focus on the negative today. We have to get that out of the way just for us to talk. My YouTube is some kind of natural. It is linked in my bio, so you can click that. But if you just want the name, it is some kind of natural. But you have to understand that if you want to be in the space of being optimistic, it first starts with you changing the way that you are consuming. And so, if you are in the space where you know that you have negative habits when it comes to your health, and oh, you are so welcome, and you feel like you just don't know where to start, you don't know how to shift, you don't know what to do for yourself, I have a masterclass that is coming. I will talk about it more as we get into the live, so stay tuned. But I just want you to understand that you are not alone in this. You are not the only one dealing with this, because I feel like I was alone. I feel like I was the odd man out in the situation, because at the time I had a friend that wasn't very supportive of me necessarily talking it out, but rather asking me like, why are you so negative, rather than asking me like, where's this coming from, what is going on. And then when I finally did open up about it, it was usually when the point where I was ready to snap. And like, they are not the person for me to trauma dump on. Nobody is. But I understood the fact that like, I know where my support system is, and it wasn't there, and I was trying to make it there. And so we all have to sit here and we have to be mentally aware of these things, because I had no mental clarity, because I literally was not mentally stable in that situation. I couldn't make any type of discernment or decisions based on any of the information that I was taking in, far as like the facts, but rather emotionally, I'm always on my emotions. I'm always, well, they said this about me, they did this, I didn't like this, their attitude was like this, they looked at me wrong, like kinds of things like that. And I'm not a confrontational person, so I just hold it in. I hold a lot in. And so when I started to let it out, people were looking at me like, what is going on? They're looking at me like, why is she sitting here expressing all of this and it's so negative? And it's because I had held on to all the negativity for so long. And I know there are so many different people that are out here like that can benefit from this. So I want to help you and to support you in understanding and getting in the space that the power of positivity starts within you, and it starts with your mind. And I know that it seems hard, and I know that it seems like there's nothing that you can possibly do to shift the life that you're going through, especially if you're going through a hard time. But I was once there. I literally was struggling in and out, day in and out, and not even struggling far as a lifestyle, because I'm blessed, but struggling with myself and struggling with moving around in this world, feeling like I was literally out of place everywhere that I went, feeling like I never could actually be welcomed into a space, because at the end of the day, I felt like that I never belonged, because I was the odd man out. I always felt like the black sheep. And so once I got out of that space, because my mindset changed, I realized the fact that I was not the black sheep. I'm the actual one that's doing what's supposed to be done correctly. It's the other people that are making me feel bad for being the person that's doing it right. And so once I got out of that space and I started to shift my health and I started to shift my lifestyle, because my mindset was in the right space to do so, I saw all of the benefits that come with it, and I understood the positivity that comes with it and the impact that comes with it. But it all started with me understanding how to get my mind in that space. And my mindset shifted not only my motivation when it comes to me wanting to wake up in the morning and wanting to be here and wanting to do what I need to do every single day, even if it's something that I still do not like to do this day, for instance, like me folding laundry and things, it still has shifted my mindset to realize that like, I get to be here and I get to do this and not have to sit here and disassociate to get it done, but rather be able to do this, knock it out in 10, 15 minutes, and then be able to do everything else that I want to do with my life. Sitting here having that positive mindset has shifted me, and not sitting here thinking diet culture is going to support me. Having that positive mindset has made me realize the fact that like, I can lose weight, I can be healthy, I can maintain a healthy weight. It doesn't have to sit here and look like me suffering and starving and counting calories and sitting here not supporting my body the way that it's naturally supported, because for everybody that doesn't come naturally. For everybody it doesn't feel normal. It didn't feel normal to me. It didn't feel normal for me to be sitting here eating boiled chicken and regular salads with nothing on top of it, sitting here suffering and hating this lifestyle, because at the end of the day, this is what diet culture tells you to do. You have to count calories, limit how much you eat, restrict all of these different foods. You have to do Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers, and you have to sit here and do all of these different diet culture facades of keto and paleo and everything else. And once I got out of that space, not only did it release all the stress that crap puts on you, because you're sitting here thinking, is this keto friendly? Is this paleo friendly? And you're sitting here doing all of these things momentarily, because I did Whole30 for at least 6 months. And Whole30, if you do not know, is no bread, no dairy, and you can only have limited amounts of fruits. You can basically only eat vegetables and eat like meat cooked, and only cooked in certain oils, and you can only have meat cooked in certain amount of seasonings, and like salt and pepper basic was the only thing. I think you could even have like certain types of salt. And so literally did that for 6 months. I hated that. The whole 6 months I hated it. And so I realized the fact that these things were not supporting me and me authentically supporting myself in this journey. And so it's something that I would never stick with, because when you consciously hate something and you know that you hate it, but you're sitting here trying to trick yourself into it because you've given yourself a facade of what is healthy, now you're subconsciously going to sit here and reiterate that you hate it and put a negative connotation on it. Which consciously is going to lead to your actions. So you sitting here sticking to a diet for a month or two, knowing that when you go back to your regular lifestyle, because you're going to go back to you eating the junk, you're not only going to gain all the weight that you were trying to lose or gain or whatever you were doing during that diet culture, but now you're worse off than when you first started. Because we look at all these people that do Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, they do all of these different facades, they do these detox little supplements, they take all these dietary supplements. You sit here and do a detox tea, and you're sitting on the toilet for hours on end, hating the fact that you're sitting here literally blowing your brains out in the toilet, not realizing the fact that it's like you are making yourself negative on the inside, because your subconscious is now sitting here putting a negative connotation onto what it looks like to be healthy. And then you are also literally sitting here hating the life that you are currently living. So you're making yourself stressed out and imbalanced on the inside, and you're going to make yourself lack motivation to figure out how to support your health. And so I got out of that space. And so now what it looks like to me is I have a positive mindset when it comes to me shifting and releasing and resetting when it comes to taking care of my body. And that started with me going plant-based, understanding how to detox and to cleanse without supplements, without sitting here having to take detox teas. I'm not saying that you don't need I'm not saying that you can't take supplements, rather, and I'm not saying you can't take detox teas. What I'm saying is, if you are relying that as the source for you to be healthy, you have been misguided. If that is your source of how you get back to release and resetting, you are believing in the marketing rather than believing in how your body is actually designed, because your body is designed to release and reset with you knowing how to do that with fruits and vegetables, with you knowing how to healthily fast, doing it correctly. These things are how you get your body back to a healthy state. Not you taking a supplement, not you sitting here doing a tea. That's how you get back to the space of you being healthy and supporting your body. But everybody doesn't know how to do that. And so the thought of that stresses people out. The thought of people going plant-based stresses them out. The thought of people shifting their lifestyle habits so that they no longer eat meat, they no longer eat dairy, stresses them out. And I understand that, because it's not common for a lot of people. And then when you do hear people saying that, because they're in the vegan community especially, they're sitting here stressing about animals. They're jumping on you. They're harping on you. They're telling you all these things that are making you put a negative connotation to it, because they're like, well, I don't want to be a part of that community. I don't want to eat like that. That looks gross. And you're sitting there looking at all of these negatives, but you're not seeing the positives, because there's not, first of all, not enough positive representation when it comes to healthy lifestyle, because they're the ones that are yelling and harping at you down your throat. You have to drink your water. You have to work out every single day. You need to do this. You have to do this. If you're eating that, you're poisoning yourself and you're full of toxins and full of crap. I'm not going to jump on you. I'll let you know the information. I'll let you understand how to educate yourself on the process and understanding why you need to do it and what you need to do for yourself. And if you want the how to shift that, that's up to you. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, you're a terrible person because you do this. You're a terrible person because you do that, and harp on you. Because at the end of the day, if you're already in a negative mindset, how is that going to help? It's not. And so I know that I was once in a space where I did not have a healthy relationship when it came to food. I didn't have a healthy relationship when it came to myself. I didn't have a healthy relationship when it came to others. And so it started and it shifted when my mindset shifted around what my health looked like. Because a lot of us do not realize the fact that, like, toxic relationships are not the only thing that are toxic. Foods are toxic. We are toxic when it comes to the habits we have with ourselves. And we don't set enough boundaries when it comes to ourselves or food. Because you can set a boundary and say that I don't let people walk all over me. But you don't set a boundary to yourself to say that I want to work out 3-4 times a week, so I'm going to do that. And you break that boundary to yourself. So how do you keep the boundary with the other person? You can't keep the boundary of you saying that I'm going to eat healthier, and so healthier doesn't look like salads for you, but rather it looks like you cutting out fast food. You can't keep that boundary, or at least cutting it out to only once or twice a month. You can't keep that boundary. And so at what point are we going to realize that it all starts with our mind? It all starts in here internally. And so if you are in the space where you know that you need to better your relationship when it comes to your mind, and you need to better your relationship with yourself, you need to join that masterclass on June 23rd that is going to support you in getting in that mindset to shift, because I did this for myself. I was one of those people that could not keep a boundary with myself. I couldn't keep a boundary with food. I had an unhealthy relationship when it came to food, a terrible relationship when it came to food. Like, literally, when I tell you, like, I believed in diet culture, I believed in starvation diets, I believed in starving myself all day to accomplish the goals that I wanted, and it did not work. I never could stay under 190. Like, literally, I was going between 190 all the way to 220 all of my life. I was talking about this last life. I'm now down to, I'm doing a reset, a cleanse right now currently. I don't know what my weight is now, but I did weigh in I weighed in at 173. I think I started a couple of weeks ago. I weighed myself and I had gone up to 180s. And so I was wondering if it was because I was doing weight training or if it was because I was gaining weight. So that's what sparked my cleanse. And then I looked and it was 176. Yeah, before I started, and then I got out of 130, 173, and that was 3 days in. So I don't know what I'm at now. But the point is, I have lost over 40 pounds just from this lifestyle change. And so, and I got the lowest I've been since I've been in this lifestyle. I'm gonna preference this is 160. So we have to understand, and this is what allowed me to understand the fact that, like, no amount of diet culture is going to support you the way that this lifestyle does. Because regardless if you want to lose weight or you want to gain weight or you want to maintain, that's what this lifestyle is going to support you in doing. Because I've maintained for years. Honestly had gone too long without a reset and a cleanse, so that's what made me realize. But what got me into the space of being in that mental clarity of immediately knowing that, like, hey, I need to do a reset and a cleanse because I should have gained this much weight in this little bit of a time, was me developing that mindset and me knowing and having the habits that were going to support me. Because a lot of people do not know how to cleanse effectively and detox effectively without having to do starvation diet. I don't starve. I'm not starving. I literally fasted for 24 hours the other day, and I didn't even do it purposely. The first day I was gonna eat all day. That was my plan. I was like, I'm just gonna eat all day. Like, I'm just gonna eat all the fruits that I have because I had washed all my produce. That my plan was not to fast. I literally fasted all day because it just slipped my mind. I knew that I was doing a cleanse, and it didn't even register through my mind. As long as I was drinking water, it didn't. And I didn't even drink water for 20 hours. Like, I had counted and realized that I didn't, so I drank some water, and it kept me from going for the next 4. So, like, it's about the space that you were in, because I have been in this space for 3.5 years. But people have been in an unhealthy space for, 15, 20, 30, 40, however old that you are, because I know I was there. I was in that space for at least, 21 years? I started shifting my lifestyle in 2020, but, like, I was still unhealthy. And so I got into the positive mindset that was supporting me in having positive actions towards my body by me showing myself love and understanding how to show myself love, understanding what I needed, giving myself the support, and setting boundaries. I set the boundary that I was no longer going to be poisoning myself with these crappy foods that they can consider as food. Thanks for the follow. I sat there and I set a boundary for myself, and I allowed myself to shift my lifestyle. But it started with me realizing that I had no boundaries. It started with me coming to the conclusion that I deserve better. I know I love myself. And a lot of us say that, and we can look in the mirror and say, I love myself, I'm beautiful. But how are you treating yourself as somebody you love? How are you treating yourself as somebody that is beautiful on the inside and out, not just by looks? Are you beautiful on the inside, mentally and system wise? Are you filled up with toxins? Are you sitting here dealing with mental instability? Like, how are you internally? Because you can look good on the outside and still be full of crap on the inside. Or is your gut balanced? Are you sitting here having issues going back and forth to the bathroom? Do you know how to release and reset and cleanse? Are you sitting here anxious and depressed like a crazy person on the inside? What are you dealing with, and are you actually dealing with it, or are you just masking it with a supplement, a prescription, or sitting here thinking that you're going to drink a herb or a tea and it's going to support you? Or are you shifting your lifestyle habits to make those habits healthier so that it's going to support you? You said that's what I'm working on right now. What are you working on right now currently? I want to know. What are you working on? Just being healthier or shifting your mindset, supporting yourself? What are you working on? Because we have to understand that optimism leads to not only just to, like, you feeling good, you being a positive person and people wanting to be around you, but it also leads to what is on your plate, what you're consuming. Because we all know what it looks like when you're having a hard day. You're sitting there thinking, I want to eat something fatty and greasy, I want to eat a whole bunch of junk food, and then I want to sit in my bed, watch some Netflix, and I want to go to sleep. That's what you want to do. But when you're in a space where you know that, like, yes, food can be comforting, because food is always, first of all, food should be used as medicine, but food is also something that is comforting, because we all know a good home cooked meal is comforting. But you don't use food as a coping mechanism. You use food as your medicine. And when you get into that space of realizing that, and you know that you've had a hard day, you can give yourself a little leeway and say, you know what? I am going to give myself for instance, I talk about this all the time, my favorite junk food that is plant-based. I'm going to give myself that today. And there's this one place that I have that is local that serves more of a, like, fast food, like McDonald's, Burger King type of meal that is plant-based. I know it's not the healthiest, but it's something that I treat myself to, like, maybe I want to say at most once a month, maybe every 3 months. Like, that's probably more on the scale, every 2 to 3 months. And it's just like, I might get some french fries, I might go and get me a plant-based little chicken sandwich, whatever. But, like, that is something that I do occasionally. People's occasionally nowadays, because people say I do this in moderation, is them eating it once a week. That's not in moderation. I release and cleanse. I try to at least once a month. I try to at least do a fast for 24 hours at least once a month. I intermittent fast every single day. And majority of people don't even know how to begin or to start or to do any of that. And so they think their moderation is just them limiting to eating it once a month. That's not moderation, because toxins store inside of your body. They store inside of your fat cells. Regardless if you are overweight or not, they still store inside of your fat cells. And so when they store inside of you, they build up, because your body does not know how to expel these toxins, because it doesn't know what to do with them. So it holds on to it, saying, maybe I can use this later on. Not realizing the fact that you are built up with literal toxins, and you are sitting here inflamed because of these toxins, which inflammation leads you to disease and cancer. So if you want illness, you keep going the way that you're going, and you're going to have it. Or if you want to heal your body, if you haven't already started, or if you have a issue with any type of disease, diabetes, you're sitting here dealing with infertility issues, you're sitting here struggling with inflammation in general, you're having knee pain, back pain, whatever it is, because all of this stems from inflammation. If you are already suffering from that, this is the way for you to shift that. And it starts with your mind. You said my gut health and my mind, I started going to therapy. And that is absolutely amazing. That is. But a lot of people, and I have an amazing coach that was talking about this, a lot of people go to therapy and they don't see the results that they need to see, or they don't get them in the time that they have spent years in therapy. And it's because our society, as Western medicine, doesn't look at the body as a whole. They don't support the body as a whole, as one. They support one issue, one problem. And I'm not saying you necessarily, but a lot of people lie to their therapists. A lot of people don't know how to actually be emotionally I'm trying to think, transparent enough for them to actually get into that issue. A lot of people don't even realize what their issue really is, as far as, because they can say, for instance, I can say when I was in that lifestyle, like how I was talking about the fact that like I was a negative Nancy. I was sitting here not realizing that I was so negative. And a therapist can look at that and say that like, okay, you have things that you haven't dealt with mentally in your brain and can deal with that. But a therapist would never know that I wasn't eating correctly. A therapist would never know that I was sitting there literally making myself anxious and depressed because of my food habits. Because they're not taught about gut health and your mind being connected. They're taught about the mind and how your subconscious and your conscious. Because I went through a psychology program. I was going to be a therapist. I was literally going to be a therapist. I wanted to be I went from wanting to work with children. I always wanted to work with kids, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then when I got further into the program, I wanted to be a sports psychologist because I loved playing sports, and I really wanted to deal with kids with like playing softball and volleyball. If I could get into that space. If not, I was like, I'm fine with working with boys with baseball too, but either which way. That besides the point. And so I have come to realize when I was listening to her live and thinking about that I was like, it is true, because I knew about the fact that Western medicine does not, tackle everything in one space, because like how a holistic doctor, they look at all of your habits, they look at your entire body, they suggest things for your entire health. Rather, in the Western medicine, the pharmaceutical industry, they're going to give you a prescription for one thing. A psychiatrist or a counselor is going to give you a mental clarity. They're going to give you some type of stability for you to be able to get yourself into a mental clarity space. I'm trying to think of it, improved internal space, far as your consciousness. But for you to overall heal and to balance and to support yourself, it starts with you using food as medicine and healing. Because there's so much mental clarity that comes from you knowing how to take care of your body with food. You said I was suffering with candida, so I started forcing myself more. You started forcing yourself to go to therapy? Is that what you were saying? Because I actually had I was having an issue with what is it? I guess yeast over, not overproduction. I mean, I guess that is overproduction. I was trying to think of the word, but you were having an issue with focusing. Your real self. Oh, okay, you were having an issue with focusing. I was having an issue with like overproduction of yeast or overconsumption. That's what I was trying to think of, overconsumption. And I've always dealt with this, and I never knew exactly what it was, because I knew that like I always got rashes in between my thighs, especially when it got hot. Like I got like, how you get like little heat bumps on your face, and they might come in like patches. I used to get that on my thighs all the time, but it was skin irritation. Until my mom was like, oh, it's just because, your thighs are big and they rub together. So, we get some little like calamine lotion or whatever and rub it on there. Let me tell you this. My thighs are the same size. And I have not had that issue since, I think the last time that I had that issue was, I know for sure when I went to Disney World and I was a senior in high school, I had the issue. And I think I had it one other time when I was in college or something like that. But by 2020, like when I tell you, I have no issues with my thighs rubbing together anymore and having a rash. I might get like every now and then, a little bump or something, a bug bite. But I do not have that like breakout of a rash anymore. And it's because one, my inflammation has lowered. And two, I don't have an overconsumption or overproduction of yeast, because we sit here and consume way too much yeast. And I had somebody ask me why I don't put nutritional yeast in my plant-based cheeses that I make. And I told them it's because that I know personally, from my observation for myself and others, we eat entirely too much yeast. And I know I love bread, so I'm going to choose bread over me putting it in my cheese. I'm like, you can do whatever if you don't feel like you have overconsumption, but I know I do. And so that was because I'm mentally clear of how much I consume, and I know when I'm over consuming. Like I'm doing this release and this cleanse now because I literally was sitting there. I had fast food, I think at least 3 times the week, not the last week, but the week before. And I think last week I ate out 1 or 2 times. And so I sat there and I was looking and I was realizing you're eating out a little too much. And then I was, like I said, stepped on the scale and I was like, so we could be weight training, could be from weight training, because I know, you work out, you weight train and things like that, you're going to get more hungry. But I wasn't giving myself fruits and vegetables like I should be. I wasn't giving myself raw foods like I needed to be. And so Once I looked at the scale weight doesn't matter, but once I looked at myself and I was starting to see that like my acne wasn't healing as fast as it normally does. My skin was looking like it was starting to flare up again. I was just seeing the flare ups on my body. It seemed like that I was starting to gain weight again. I was like, nope, nope, because I was at the space where I was literally getting like, I'm not gonna say that I have abs, but I had multiple people tell me and was encouraging me saying that I was getting ab lines. So one day it's coming. It's coming. I'm not really like pushing it, but if it comes, it comes. And so now I was looking and I was like, where did them lines go? Like I was like, and they're not there anymore. And then on top of that, like I felt bloated. Like it was just a whole bunch of different things going on. And so my mindset now, since I've been in this lifestyle for 3.5 years, going on 4, it can immediately see and pinpoint these things, and I don't go to a negative space. I don't immediately sit there and start talking to myself crazy, because that my old self, I would immediately start talking to myself crazy. It would immediately went to like, oh my God, why would you do this? You're so fat. Look at you. Like, how did you do this to yourself? Why would you do this to yourself? Look, you can't ever lose weight and keep it off. Why are you sitting here eating all this junk? Look at your scale weight. Why in the world are you that big? Like saying all of these different things to myself, and like it got it got it got it got crazy. It got real crazy in here in this mind. It got real crazy. It got and it took me it took me it didn't take me long. After literally 2020 was the mental clarity that I needed. Being away from everybody and being at home, especially at the time I was living by myself in my apartment, and my roommates were never home, so I was literally there by myself, and it was very nice to just be alone, be away from society, be away from like the construct of society. And so you start, and that's what happened. I realized the fact that like I never started speaking negatively to myself in the space of me being alone. I was never negative to myself sitting in the house by myself. I was never negative to myself looking at myself in the mirror being in the house by myself. But when I had outside influences, compare as far as like comparing, looking at other people, doing other things, hearing other people's comments, that's when the negativity started coming. And I'm not a competitive person. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. I'm not a competitive person. And so like thinking about the fact that like I literally was comparing myself to other people, and not necessarily in a jealous kind of way, like, oh, I want your lifestyle, but rather sitting here like, why can't you do that? Why can't you have a flat stomach? Why can't you work out all the times of the day and do all of this? Being at home and being like, what do you want to do? How are you going to support yourself? How are you going to be comfortable today? It led me to working out every single day at 10 o'clock. Like it would hit 10:30 and I'd be like, and I had no alarm, no nothing. I'd be like, oh, it's 10:30. It's time for me to get up and go work out. Sitting there, having concerts with myself, loving myself in the space that I was in, enjoying the space that I was in. And that's because I shifted my mindset during that time, because I realized that like society has programmed us to literally be toxic on the inside and the outside, and then also to be so negative towards ourselves, towards others, towards people that are different. And we don't realize the fact that this box that is deemed as normal is the one that is poisoning us and making us sick. We don't realize that that box that is deemed as normal is the reason why people are sitting out here. 650 million people are sitting here dealing with obesity. 1.9 million people are sitting here dealing with being overweight. It's all because we are programmed to do the things that do not support our body. And that's because they make a profit off of us. And so, how do they keep making a profit? Be a good marketing team. And you see that. Look at the Got Milk campaign. Still to this day, people are arguing that milk gives them benefits. And you don't even realize the fact that that milk is the one that's making you inflamed. And it's making you sick. It's making you diabetic. It's making you sit here and develop all these hormone issues because it has additive hormones in it. And so, is about being aware and wanting better for yourself and wanting a shift for yourself and wanting to take care of yourself, because you can. It just starts with you being aware. It starts with you taking that action and shifting. And so that's what that masterclass that is on June 23rd is going to support you in doing. Shifting from that pessimistic to that optimistic mindset, because you deserve to feel good in your body, to be vibrant, to be energetic, and you deserve to be feeling like, you're taking care of yourself with your food choices and having boundaries with those food choices. You're taking care of yourself internally. So now you have mental clarity and knowing the fact that you can have healthy relationships because you are literally balanced totally. So then you can sit here and you can check yourself if you're having a bad day. You can check yourself if you're having a negative thought. And you don't have to rely on anybody else's opinion when it comes to your self worth, when it comes to you being stable, when it comes to you sitting here and being able to talk yourself down off the ledge. Because I know that I was there. I was on that ledge at least, I want to say at least twice, 3 times a month that I was sitting, a week I was sitting there and I was like, goodness gracious. What are we going to do now? How are we going to do it? And then I'm sitting there talking to myself, and you know what? You're never going to reach there. That was my mindset. It was like, you're never going to reach it. There's no way. There's no way that you're going to reach this goal. There's no way you're going to be healthy. There's no way you're going to lose weight. There's no way you're ever going to have a flat stomach. And like literally now, when I'm telling you, like, especially now, I'm getting myself back to that space. I'm not skinny mini, but like I have never seen my ribs poke through my skin, and I don't want to be skinny mini, but I know that I'm supporting myself with real whole food, so I'm releasing toxins. I'm losing that excess fat because, like I said, I was over 200 pounds and was going as low as 190, the highest is 220, and I could not get out of that space. And so I'm telling my doctor, like, did you know that the weight scale says that I should be around 140? And her looking at me and reassuring the fact that I can never be a 140. And so she's sitting there like, there's no way. She was like, your physical body mass and how your body is built and with your family's history, you will never be at 140. And she's like, that scale is not realistic. And then telling me and reassuring me in the negative that this will never be my space. One day it may. Who knows? But one thing I do know is that those things are not genetic. They're habits. Habits are genetic. You pass down habits. You don't pass down illnesses. You don't pass down diseases. The only thing that is passed down is habits, and those habits leads to consequences. So if you were sitting here and let's say, for instance, people are born with type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and things like that. They're born with diabetes. You have to understand, and I'm not blaming the mother, but whatever was brewing inside of your mother while you were also brewing, that is what led you to having whatever disease or illness that you have. And so it comes from mother and father because, they become one and you develop from both. Whatever they have going on, that is how you sit there and develop something genetically. We have to understand, and that's the reason why they tell you, and it was a thing back in the day especially, that you pick the most viable person to procreate with. You don't pick any and everybody, and that's not just because people are crazy and they will literally harm you. It's not because you need money and you want to continue your lineage into a successful money environment. You have to also understand that you don't want to sit here and be with somebody and procreate with somebody and marry somebody and literally build a foundation on somebody that has a rocky foundation already because their family has passed down generational curse of them not knowing how to release cancer, a generational curse of them sitting here not understanding the fact that like cancer builds on inflammation and everybody in their family is inflamed because they have unhealthy habits and they're toxic and they're terrible to their own bodies. So we have to shift and realize the fact that if your goal is for you to be healthier, if your goal is for you to support yourself, it starts with you renewing your mind, because it literally talks about it in Romans 12 that you should not be conformed to this world, but you should be daily renewing your mind. And that starts with you understanding that renewing your mind looks like knowing what's pleasing to him, because that's scriptural. That's literally in the scripture. What do you know that pleases him? He tells us to eat the seeded fruits of our labor. Yeah, we're not sitting here all producing farms, but we're supposed to be eating seeded fruits. Do you eat GMOs? Because those don't have seeds. You're supposed to be sitting here eating vegetables where a plate of love is. Vegetables of love. Wait, I'm trying to think. I don't remember exactly where that is. It's not Ephesians. I feel like that might be in Psalms. But either which way, it's a plate of vegetables of love versus a fatted calf of hatred. Are you sitting here eating meats from fast food places? Are you sitting here eating all of this chicken from McDonald's? Are you sitting here eating these places that these restaurant owners and these fast food workers do not care about you? They don't want you to sit here, and they don't want you here long. Basically, they don't want you in front of their face. These companies that get mass produced meat, they have all these workers, these people who are sick in these factories that do not even care. They're supposed to be on their job sitting here doing, inspections for the meat, but they're falling asleep because they're overworked. That is hatred. That is hatred being put under your food, and it's cooked and you're served to you and you're consuming that hatred. So are you eating the vegetables of love, or are you sitting here eating the fatted calf of hatred? Because a lot of people love to quote scripture and say that it says that we're supposed to be eating meat. But scripturally, they were not eating meat the way that we were, because we eat meat with every single meal, every single day. And they did not do that. They maybe ate meat once a month. They maybe ate meat, it'll go months, and then it'll be a celebration. They would find something to slaughter and to have Thanksgiving to celebrate. But we eat meat every single day with every single meal. We sit here and say that the Bible tells us we're supposed to eat meat, but you don't also listen to the fact they tell you you're supposed to eat seeded fruit. It tells you you're supposed to eat the vegetables. And you're sitting here eating vegetables with meat. You're sitting here coating it with a bunch of crap. You're sitting here literally eating crap all day, every day. But you want to quote to my face that you eat meat. And I'm not speaking to anybody specifically. But if you sit out here and you throw those verses at somebody and you don't even know the scripture verses about fruits and vegetables, you don't know how to support yourself. You don't understand the authentic design of your body. And so we have to understand that if you want to achieve the health of you being optimal, getting into the optimal health that you deserve and getting in the space of supporting your body and being healthy, you have to shift your mind around what is normal and start to realize that everything that is normal is probably poisoning you if you're not questioning enough. Because you should be. You should be questioning. Because we know they lie to us. Because we always love to quote how they lie to us. But we don't change anything. We don't question enough. We don't want to shift anything. And I literally just posted a video about a girl that was eating a bag of Doritos and was sitting there talking about the fact that she was questioning why the Doritos was stale, didn't even look in the bag or anything, and then picked out a big chunk of something. Nobody knows what the chunk is. And then Doritos had the nerve to send her a handful of coupons as this sorry. They sent her a handful of coupons, and she was talking about the fact that she doesn't want to sue or make it a big thing. I would. I do. I want to make it a big thing for her. But she just rather know, what did she consume? She would rather know, what did she eat? Because everybody in the comments is saying it looks like a rat. I think it looks like a rat too. She said it's big like a chicken tender or a chicken wing, but the thing is hard and she couldn't break it with her hands. Everybody's telling her to soak it and let it dissolve. Doritos is still not responding to her. But my thing is that she said that she feels bad. Why do you feel bad for a company? Because this is Pepsi Cola. This is Pepsi Cola company. Why do you feel bad for a company that makes billions of dollars? Obviously, their safety regulations are not high enough. Obviously, their inspection process is not well enough, because that should have not been in her food, and her food should have not been stale. And then also, what is that? Like, what, and why didn't they answer of what it is or ask her to send it back so they could test it? Was their first solution was to send her coupons? To send her coupons for more of their crap. And they didn't even offer her a free product. That's what really blew my mind. Instead of them saying, like, we failed to miss the mark, we're going to send you, a year's supply of this. We're going to give you this. We're going to make sure our inspections are higher up. We're going to support you in this. We're going to troubleshoot the issue. They sent her some coupons. And it's just because her TikTok went viral. And so we have to realize these companies do not care about you. They just see you as a dollar sign and a consumer. And since they see you as a dollar sign and a consumer, they sit there and they laugh as they send out these coupons. They're sitting there laughing at you as a consumer, knowing that they're poisoning you. Just like how Kellogg's threw in your face that if you can't afford dinner, and they're sitting there kiki laughing at their billion-dollar industry, literally making billions of dollars a year from you buying and spending money on this $8 box of cereal. They told you, since you can't afford dinner for your family, go out and just buy our cereal, our non-nutritional cereal that's full of sugar, full of unhealthy fats, full of unhealthy salts, and just go ahead and give that to your kids and your family for dinner. That's enough. Nobody can make you choose yourself if you're not going to choose yourself. How you start choosing yourself is shifting your mind and choosing the healthy habits that are going to support you. And June 23rd, that masterclass that I'm hosting is going to support you in doing that. It is priced at $111. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay. If you feel like that is expensive, or you feel like that you just don't have it right now. But you have to realize that if you were sitting there eating out and you spend at least $20 and you go out to eat 3 to 2 times a week and you're spending over $20, you're spending at least $10,000 a year on food. And that's just eating out alone. That's not including your groceries. Eating out, if you go 2 to 3 times a week and you spend over $20, you're spending $10,000 on food, $10,000 plus. And so that little 111 that is going to support you in shifting your mindset and getting in the space for you to be able to go to a healthier lifestyle of being plant-based, regardless if you stick there or not, but rather just getting in that space so you know how to support your body and you know how to release and you know how to reset so that your body is healing. that is going to support you in staying away from these doctors, staying away from these prescriptions, staying away from a diagnosis that you do not need. And if you have already been diagnosed with something, it's not a life sentence. This is your space to release and reset that diagnosis so that you can be healthy and you can get back to healing and be in a healthy space. And so if anybody has any questions, this is the time for you to ask me questions. I'm taking Q&As. This is the end of the live before I get off. I'm going to read some more comments. You said I was scared, had fear, but I had realized God is not a fear. Amen. Exactly. Praise the Most High for that, because that is one of the scriptures that, like, it comes to me randomly, and like I know that it's on time, because I literally always somehow end up going back to like Psalms and Proverbs when I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time, and it's just like subconsciously now it happens to me because I've been reading my Bible every single morning. I've been doing that for a little over a year now. Not a little, because it's probably 6 months into the year, so probably like a year and 6 months almost. And literally I say it has shifted me like no other. Like, as far as me sitting here being mentally clear and having that ground and that foundation for me to sit here and be like, you know what, first of all, I'm feeling far as these people that are sitting out here doing palm readings and sitting here doing energy readings and all of these negative things that do not have any power in him, but rather is reinforcing a power into a person, and not realizing the fact that healing looks like you knowing how to take care of your body. Healing looks like you know how to support your mind, your physical health, and knowing how to support your systems internally. That's what healing looks like. And that's what I help you be able to do. Knowing how to support yourself, because this foundational masterclass that is happening on June 23rd is the start. You get your mind right first, and then we're going to focus on the next step, which is for you to understand how to use food as your medicine and getting in that space. And then once you know how to use food as your medicine and get in that space, that's when we can start implementing the natural products to get externally healed. Because we have to understand, we are literally putting so many toxins in our body and on our body, and we are exposed to all these toxins. I want to say willingly, honestly, it's willingly. We're choosing to expose ourselves to these toxins, because you use bleach knowing that it's a chemical product that should not be touched on your skin, and you really shouldn't be breathing it in either. You use Lysol in the air knowing that it's a hormone disruptor, and you keep spraying it all up in the air. Same thing with perfumes. You use these body washes with a bunch of chemicals in them and do not read any instructions. Ingredients. I said instructions. You didn't read any ingredients. And you know that these Doritos and these Oreos and these hot Takis and you sitting here eating these Sour Patch Kids and Lucky Charms and all this other junk is not supporting you. You know ramen is heavily filled with sodium, and you know these things are toxic and poisonous to your body and literally leading you to diseases, but you keep doing it. You have to stop feeding into your own, I'm trying to think of it, toxic habits, and you have to stop feeding your own, I was gonna say that, but I'm not gonna say that. Grave. You have to stop feeding yourself into the grave. You have to stop eating yourself into the grave. You have to stop sitting here and using your habits to lead yourself to unaliving this earth earlier than you're designed to. But it starts with you supporting yourself. It starts with you shifting. And if you want those links, the link is in my Instagram, my Facebook bio, or you can get it on my YouTube bio. Or if you DM me, I will send you the link directly. It's whatever you choose to, because if you do want the link directly, just DM me. My DMs are always open on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. If you're watching this later on my YouTube, you can leave me a comment on this YouTube video and I will send you the link. But I'm not seeing any questions, so I am going to hop off. I think I'm going to try to fast for the rest of the day. So I was going to say I might give me something to eat, but I think I'm going to try to fast. Last time I ate yesterday was 5, so I think I'm going to fast until about 5:30. Because today is the last day of my cleanse. I was trying to go 7 days, but I fasted the first day, and I think I'm going to fast the last day. And I said, you know what, that's good enough, because last night was a mental battle of me sitting there telling myself that I don't need to go out and get food, but I really was like, I just really want to eat something. And next week I think I'm going to go back to it, but I need a day off. Like, I need a day of me being able to eat something, because I'm really like craving, and it's around almost the time that the cravings happen for me every single month. So I'm really just like, but I'm not craving sugar. I'm just really just craving like a good, not a big meal, but like a warm meal. That's what I'm craving. I'm craving a warm meal, because I've been eating like a whole lot of avocados. The other night I literally went to bed. I ate 2 whole avocados. I ate some pineapples and something else, and I felt so full. I was like, goodness gracious, girl, because 2 avocados will do it for me. They will do it for me. I love avocados. But yeah, I was on a little rant. I don't see any questions, so I guess I'm going to hop off. I don't know if I'll be back on later because I was like, I might hop back on later, but if I'm not on later, I will be on tomorrow. I'm going to try to hop on at least 4 times this week. So tune in. And if you want to, dive more into the optimistic and pessimistic mindset, join that masterclass and don't miss any of these lives. They're all posted on YouTube later on if you have missed any of my previous lives, so that you can get all the freebies that you need. And if you have not been reassured enough to know that this masterclass is going to be life changing, this is how you get the reassurance. Because let me tell you, that masterclass is gonna be life changing. It is life changing. I've already done it. It's ready. It's prepared. You are going to be shifted by the end of that, and then on top of that, you get a freebie. I'm thinking if I'm gonna add 2 freebies in there. I have 1 freebie already. I'm thinking about the other one, but yeah. And you get a lifetime replay. So you get lifetime access to this. So if you ever feel like you have to go back and refer to it, if you ever need that foundation again, you have it. So I hope that everybody has an amazing, amazing rest of their day. I hope that you have a blessed day. Enjoy. I hope your mind is filled with positivity and your energy is filled with positivity and your lifestyle is leading you to positivity. And I hope the Most High blesses you for the rest of the day.